welcome to the Pivot to Balance podcast. I'm your host, AK, and I hope you're doing well. In a world that pulls us in a million different directions and with a billion distractions, finding balance can feel like an ambiguous quest. Join me on this podcast as I try to navigate life's twists and turns with mindfulness, purpose, and grace. In each episode, we will dive into topics like self-care, personal growth, mindset shifts by sharing practical insights, stories, and maybe even interviews. Get ready to pivot, to recalibrate, and find your balance. Follow the Pivot to Balance podcast, and I will see you on the other side. Today, we're going to talk about the incredible power of gratitude, and it's one of those first practices that I incorporated into my life because I obviously went by the trend of gratitude journaling, and I didn't actually know the power of it until I started doing that. And I just realized, gratitude isn't just about saying thank you. It's also about embracing the present moment and appreciating the simple joys of life. And it just helps you find peace within yourself. And this doesn't mean that you always have to be positive and you always have to be thankful for everything. I've had moments where I've really broken down and I've thought, why is everything so wrong in my life? And that's such a human thing to do. But I think with gratitude journaling, I would say give it 4 weeks at least, consistent journaling and jotting down 3 things every single day and night. And you'd see how much you'd have a couple of these days where you know exactly what you're going to write down. But once you cross that 4 weeks or 5 weeks timeline, you will find yourself saying the same thing again and again. I'm thankful for this place, or I'm thankful for the food on my plate. And it just after a point becomes okay, what else am I thankful for? And that's when the real game begins. That's when you actually realize how powerful it is to sit and think, okay, so what am I actually grateful for? What are the good things in my life that I've always wanted and I have it? I just haven't realized, I just haven't taken a moment to think about it. And that will help you when you have times where you feel really negative. And opening up that journal will help you so much. When you feel really negative, you can go back to that journal and see, oh my God, I have so many things to be thankful for. And that will really help elevate your mental health. Absolutely. The best thing about gratitude journaling is that you don't have to tell anyone else whatever it is that you're writing down. You can even just tell yourself. You don't actually have to do it in a journal. You can just tell yourself 3 things that you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be 3. It can be 5 or 10 or 1. It can be anything. But also it's very important to note that just because you journal for 4 weeks, just because I set that timeline, doesn't have to be that way for you. I'm sure it's different for a lot of people. If it took me 4 weeks to get to that place, it can take you 5 weeks or even 1 week. And it just takes time, but it has lasting effects on you, on your mental health. And it takes a lot of time for your brain to come out of this. Oh, why am I journaling? And this is also, a lot of people they don't want to get out of the rigid mindset, which is wrong. And I feel like if you start to write stuff down, or if you start to tell yourself and openly talk about the things that is really inside of you, that really makes you very self-aware. When I started to see the effects of gratitude journaling, I started reading articles on that, and I read this article by Neurohealth Associates, which was posted on July 4, 2020, which says that neuroscience reveals that gratitude literally rewires your brain to be happy. And they talked about how gratitude activates the hypothalamus as well, with downstream effects on metabolism, stress, and various behaviors. And this hypothalamus is located at the base of the brain and regulates hormones responsible for many critical functions, such as body temperature, emotional responses, and survival functions like appetite and sleep. It's sort of a dopamine pleasure hormone, and the positive influence of gratitude on mental health continues past an isolated event if the emotion is relieved. This is what they say in that article. There have been days where I haven't journaled as much, and the moment I come back home from whatever day I've had and I start journaling and I start to think about, okay, what am I actually grateful for? I don't want to have this negative thought. And it has really helped me. Oh my God, there has been really good moments in this day, and I didn't notice that, and I probably wouldn't have even remembered it if I didn't write it down. That has been such a game changer. The thing with gratitude journal is that it helps you think about yourself in a way where, hey, you have a lot more than the average person. And the problem is we think about the people who look like they have more than us, and we constantly compare ourselves and think, oh my God, they have so much. Oh my God, they have this, they have that, and I don't have that. But you have more than what an average person would have. And that's what you need to take into consideration. If you think about people that have been through wars and they've lived life that way without food or shelter, you have that. And how big of a deal is that? Just imagine if that is being taken away from you tomorrow morning. You just don't have anything. Do you remember COVID? We just couldn't go out. We couldn't do anything. How big of a deal is that we're able to do that now? And how grateful should we be? Very simple example is that even if you're listening to this episode and you're thinking, oh, I know this stuff already. You have to be grateful that you already know these things because you have that exposure. Do you know how many people don't know all of these things? Do you know how many people don't know what gratitude is or journaling is? That's what I'm talking about. It's about realizing that you know things, you have things, and you've experienced things that other people might have not. And being grateful for that because those experiences, those moments have made you this person that you are today. And no one can take that away from you. Now let's wrap this up with some actionable steps you can take to infuse your life with more gratitude. I would say start having a gratitude journal. Take a few minutes out of your day to write down 3 or 5 or one thing that you're grateful for. Express your gratitude. Tell people that you appreciate them. When you feel like, oh my God, I'm so happy that you're in my life, tell them. Don't just feel it, tell them. If you can, create a cozy space. It doesn't have to be so aesthetic or decorated or anything. Just a corner in your house, or if you have a patio or a balcony, or just sit on your carpet. That's totally fine. Just whatever helps you feel like you can sit down, reflect, meditate, or just simply relax. Create that space for yourself. Have mindful moments. Take small breaks and think about, okay, so what have I done these last couple of hours? Think about that and fill it with things that bring you joy and comfort. Disconnect and reflect. Take some time off all of your devices. Just disconnect. A couple of minutes before you sleep helps too. Don't read books, don't watch TV, or don't scroll on TikTok or Instagram. Just take a couple of minutes to think about, oh my God, so this was the day. I had this, I did that, I had that for breakfast, I had that for lunch and dinner and a little bit of snacks, and I met these people. This is what I talked, this is how I felt. This will really help you as you keep practicing this. And speaking about practice self-compassion. We'll talk more about that and how to be kind to yourself. Just think about yourself in a way you would see a friend. Would you go and tell your friends tough things that you tell yourself? Think about it that way. And I always say this, share your journey. I will keep saying this, share your journey, because no matter how much you think people know, with the amount of data and the amount of content that we have, it's highly unlikely that every single piece of content is reaching every single person. So when it comes from you, from someone that they know, it means a lot more. So make sure to share your journey. And practicing gratitude is a very cozy blanket. And I would say just give it some time, give it a try. And I will see you in the next episode. Have a cup of lemon water. Bye.